Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here.
Joining me for another edition of the Bob Sullivan Show here on latenightsportsradio.com. If you'd like to call in, the number's 585-633-7487. I'm joined here in hour number 1 by Antoine Staley, also known as the Black Red Sox man. Juan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Just enjoying the calm before the storm, which is going to be Super Bowl Sunday, which could turn into kind of a shitstorm for me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be good to finally get to Super Bowl talk. It's been, nothing but, deflate gate and everything like that. So it'd be really cool just to start talking Super Bowl. So I look forward to it.
What do you think the punishment? Obviously, they're not going to give out a punishment before the Super Bowl. They're going to wait till after. But what do you think the punishment will be for deflate gate, as they're calling it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's, depends. I guess it all varies, depends on what they find, as far as, was an intent there, as far as with the Patriots. I don't know. I mean, to be completely honest, it could be draft picks, it could be a fine. I guess it just depends on the severity of it. So, and Ted Wells is behind the investigation, so it's going to be a while. We may not know anything probably until the draft or before the draft. So I wouldn't, if I was anybody, I wouldn't, hold off. I would just hold off onto it because it's going to be a while. It could be about 3 or 4 months before we hear anything. So I have no clue. I don't know how severe it was. It also depends on how long they found out the Patriots were doing it. So it's a lot of variables involved.
Are you as offended by it as a lot of former players seem to be? Like Mark Brunell was crying. I'm not that offended by it. I mean, granted, I didn't have a horse in the race, but I mean, as a Giants fan, they had that game against the Vikings back in the year they went to the Super Bowl with Kerry Collins, and there was reports that they were listening. They had, they were listening in on the play calls for the Vikings in that game. So I mean, but there was nothing ever proven. And looking at it, I'm not really that offended by it. Are you?
I mean, it's a form of cheating. So I guess, am I super offended by it? No. I mean, I think it's a big deal. You try to break the rules, but at the same time, it's not other teams have done it and things like that. So I'm not super appalled by it. But at the same time, I mean, if they were intentionally doing that, there should be some type of punishment there. I just don't think that's necessarily the case why they were winning games, to an extent. I think they might have been bending rules and things like that, but I'm not super offended. It's a form of cheating. I think it's a big deal. I do. But at the same time, I'm kind of just want to let the process play out and just see what happens. I'm not trying to call anybody cheaters or anything like that until the process is finished, which it's not going to be for a little while. So that's kind of my whole thing about it.
Do you think, it kind of spruces up the Super Bowl this year a little bit? Because I don't think that it's kind of funny. I mean, we have the two best teams from both conferences going to the Super Bowl again for back-to-back years. And this feels like I'm not really that intrigued by the matchup. Yeah, I mean, I should be, but I'm not really that intrigued. And the deflate gate has kind of, opened up a new storyline that otherwise they're not really talking about Carroll facing off against the Patriots. And they're really not talking about Lynch, or there's no, Sherman versus Revis, not yet at least. I hope that talk gets going, but there's really not any interesting storylines so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of I think it's some interesting stories as far as the Super Bowl, as far as it's a lot of parallels, a lot of narratives, you can have as far as look at the coaches, Bill Belichick ended up replacing Pete Carroll in Seattle, and obviously you got Tom Brady going for Super Bowl, and Russell Wilson going for back-to-back, Super Bowls as well. And the Seattle defenses, if they win it, they have to be considered one of the best defenses in NFL history. So I think there's a lot of narratives there. I just think that, just kind of really overshadowed the whole entire, weekend. Kind of wish the Super Bowl was played tonight instead of another week from now.
Yeah, it's the Pro Bowl. I do like moving it to in between I like them moving it in between the Super Bowl and conference championship. I do like that, but it's not with the Pro Bowl, the new, them moving it away from Hawaii. Do you like that now that we don't have to watch it during the day in a terrible stadium?
I don't personally like the Pro Bowl at all. Like, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have one. But if they're gonna have one, yeah, I think it's better to probably, depending on the location of the Super Bowl, I think it's cool to have it in Hawaii from time to time. But if they want to have, especially if they have it like in a cold weather place like New York or Chicago, like they might have talked about it and things like that. But I also think it's good to move it around. Like if they want to have a Super Bowl in Tampa or Arizona in this case. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Pro Bowl, to be completely honest. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask this to, but yeah, I think as far as like moving it around, I think it is kind of good, just to have it in different locations.
Other than getting rid of the Pro Bowl completely, what do you think is there a fix to the Pro Bowl to make it any more entertaining, or do you think they've done as much as they can with it?
I think they've done as much as they can, actually. I would just have an all-pro team, and, if you want to have people, want to have, like, clauses in your contract to make it an all-pro team or second team or like that, then, yeah, just do it. But I wouldn't – I think they've done as much as they can. They've moved it bad. Like I say, they've made it, had before the Super Bowl. They have it in, unconference. I think they've done as much as they can. I don't know if you can really do a whole lot more to the Super Bowl than it's already been done.
As far as the Super Bowl goes, what's when you're planning a party, what do you do for the Super Bowl? Do you go to a party? Do you have a party at your place? Do you go out to a bar? What's your Super Bowl Sunday like?
The past 3 years I've been going to a party. Like a friend of mine has had a party, so I've been going there. She's married now, so we're not that we were dating or anything like that, but it's different when you're married as opposed to being single. So I'm not gonna go there unless she calls me at the last minute. So I don't know what I'm doing, to be completely honest. So I'll probably go out to a bar and watch it. As long as I'm watching the game and have some type of food or whatever, it does. As long as I'm able to watch the game, it doesn't really matter to me. But I like to have a party. Before a few years ago, I would get some food, get wings, and maybe a few beers or something, and just watch the game.
I saw a stat a couple days ago on NBC Nightly News or some news channel that said 1.25 billion with a B wings would be consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. Doesn't that seem a little high?
Nah, actually it doesn't. Because any kind of party, that's what you have to think of. Like, how many people have parties, and like how many? Don't you know how many platters of wings people have? Like hundreds. Like we're talking. I go to a party, like it's usually like 200 or 300 wings there, depending on the size of the party, and just think about the amount of people, not just like in the state, like just around the country, just watch everybody. A lot of people watch the Super Bowl. My mom was not a football fan, but she'll watch the Super Bowl. She just thinks that she watches it, or she'll get food just because the Super Bowl's on. She doesn't need any kind of excuse to eat food, really. And like she'll get food for the Super Bowl or whatever. Like she might not necessarily watch it, depending on who's playing. Or like when I was at home living with my mom, then yeah, she would definitely watch a little bit of it there, but really just get food for me and my stepfather. But you have to look at how many people watch the Super Bowl, non-casual fans, not just hardcore fans, but non-casual fans that just need an excuse to have a party and food and everything.
Yes. As far as the Super Bowl in general is going, all right, we got Brady, Deflategate, Russell Wilson. Do you feel like Russell Wilson is kind of the new Tom Brady? I mean, he's short. Doesn't have the height of Brady, but he's like that new Brady where, you can't count him out late. And he's got, early in his career, he's got a defense that can kind of guide him to get these first couple Super Bowls out of the way, and then it'll inflate his popularity. Do you feel like he's the new age Brady?
It could be. I think he's definitely going in that direction as far as not getting a lot of credit, because I don't think Tom Brady got a lot of credit for at least the first few Super Bowls of the Patriots. What I think more or less people were thinking about is their defense and giving them credit. So there's a lot of parallel there. I think Russell Wilson, I think their defense is the reason they're there. A lot of people say Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. I hate the word, to be honest with you, but I think he's a very, very good quarterback, but I think their defense is the reason what got them. And also Marshawn Lynch, I think he gets kind of lost in the shuffle because of one, the quarterback is the glamour position, and two, just him, and he doesn't really talk a whole lot, and he's a bit of an ass to an extent. So I just think that he doesn't necessarily, but I feel like he's their best offensive player. And I know a lot of people may frown at that, but I really do think they wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, looking at Lynch, it's kind of funny how he, started off his career in Buffalo. Was kind of, initially kind of considered a little bit of a bust. Gets traded to Seattle and then kind of has, turns into one of the best running backs in the NFL, and is probably the most underrated right now. How much credit, do you think he gets due credit, or do you think he doesn't get enough?
I don't think he gets enough. As far as him going in Buffalo, I think he's a solid running back, but I think he just wasn't. I don't know what happened in Buffalo. I mean, he did. I don't know what you want to take from him, but he was a solid runner. He made a Pro Bowl. I don't know if that holds any weight anymore, especially with Andy Dalton making a Pro Bowl this week. But the fact of the matter is, he was solid in Buffalo. He wasn't as good as he was when he got to Seattle. I thought he was a little troubled there, and obviously he didn't want to be in Buffalo because that didn't fit necessarily his style or whatever the case may be. He didn't want to be in Buffalo, so they ended up trading him to Seattle. So yeah, I think he's much better, there in Seattle, and become really one of the better running backs in all of football, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, I don't think he gets enough credit. I think he's the best player on the offense. And I think, a lot of people put Russell Wilson because, like I said, what quarterback position is really clamor, as far as they get all the credit, they get all the blame. But I think, honestly, their offensive line is really good. And I think Marshawn Lynch, look what he did against Green Bay last week. I think that's, like I say, he was really the reason they won that game. Honestly, I know Russell Wilson made the big throw late, but, if Russell Wilson doesn't, throw the amount of interceptions that he did, or they wouldn't be in that position that they were in. So I just think Marshawn Lynch is really the big key to their success on offense.
Let's do a few prop bets for this game. First one, coin toss. What are you taking, heads or tails?
I guess I always go tails, so I guess I'll go tails. I don't know. If I had to pick, that's usually my favorite thing to do, pick tails.
I'm going to say it's going to be tails as well. I just feel like, tails never fails. It's got a rhyme. Heads, I feel like George Washington or whoever's on the heads this year is going to be a little overrated. Not a fan of the heads. The heads going into this game. What do you think Russell Wilson will do first? Throw for a touchdown pass with 1-2 odds 1-2, or throw an interception, 8-5 odds?
I probably would say throw for a touchdown. It's not the Patriots don't have the best defense in the world, but I probably would say throw for a touchdown, to be honest with you.
I'm actually going to say he does neither. Because I feel I'm going to say he's going to have no touchdown passes, no interceptions in this game. I think it's going to be Marshawn Lynch is going to score 2 touchdowns, and I think they're going to get an oddball touchdown at some point, either defense or special teams. So I'm going to
Yeah,
say,
I think that they're definitely going to run the ball because I think that's